Hi, I'm Becky Dayton. I remember when my children were young and in school, I volunteered as an art docent. And I remember how interested the children were when classical paintings and classical art were presented to them and explained to them. The book that I'm presenting today takes on the challenge of explaining art to children in a very spiritual way. It's a nonfiction informational picture book. It's entitled A Child's Book of Prayer in Art by Sister Wendy Beckett. Sister Beckett is a Catholic nun who loved art since she was young. A note in the beginning of the book by the author says, "This book is really self-contained, and in many cases, the best thing for an adult to do is simply stay clear. Let the children go on with the book alone." The book highlights 12 different paintings that Sister Wendy selected that speak to children in the form of love, forgiveness, respect, determination, listening, selflessness, etc. One thing I love about this beautiful picture book is how she takes a painting and delves into the meaning of it and compares it to different things that children can understand. In the introduction, Sister Wendy says, "Learning what God is like is called prayer. God will teach us silently if we are listening. Looking at art is one way of listening to God. So take your time, look at only one picture at a time, stay with it and let the picture draw you into itself and reveal itself to you. There is no right way to look at it. Different people will see and understand different things." On each full spread of the book is the painting, the painter's name, and some information about where it is and the history of it, as well as some close-ups of each section of the painting that is being described. And then Sister Wendy writes a little prayer that the children can say to themselves or what they maybe could learn from these paintings. I wanted to share with you one of my very favorite ones. This is the picture entitled Portrait of an Old Man and a Young Boy. And Sister Wendy has put it with the subject of love. The subject of being kind and accepting other people for how they look. Here's the little prayer that goes along with it. "Teach me to accept other people with love as you do. Help me to take other people as they are, never be cruel or unkind, whatever they look like." And she talks about how this little boy is looking so lovingly up at the man, even though he has warts or blisters on his nose. It doesn't matter to the little boy what he looks like. You can tell in the painting that there's love between the two of them. This picture is entitled Learning. The actual picture is called The Young Schoolmistress. And children can really relate to this because if they're in school right now, they can see how this child is wanting to learn from the schoolmistress and how lovingly she is trying to teach them. Each of these paintings have their own set of colors and their own moods, and so there's no way to just identify one certain kind of color. This is obviously a book about spiritual things, and the only problem I could see with reading this book is if it is in a home where parents don't want their children to read about religious things like this. I do believe overall this is a beautiful book. It was in my shelf and in my library. My mom had given it to me to read to my children, and when I brought it out again, it brought such beautiful feelings, and I do hope you enjoyed this book.